AutoCAD is a design tool that allows us to collaborate with others and with other data. One tool that helps us with that is the xref manager. This tool references or links data to our working file. This process loads other CAD files or images into your current file so that you can display them without having to draw something brand new. For example, let's open up the file for this project chapter called reference. Now, in this file, we have a little movie house drawing that's referenced into our current drawing. Now, when you do that, you have access to all of the drawing data. You can see it, you can turn layers off and on, you can manipulate how the colors and line weights look inside this file without having to change the source file. So this is a great way to share data, and it's good CAD practice to do this. You create a model file or a base file, and you put your main line work in there. And then you create another file, a second file, that's called your drawing file or your sheet file. And that's what we have here. This is our sheet file. Then we cross-reference, it's called xref because that's the command xref. We xref that other CAD file into this one to bring it in. So you can have one person work on the main line work, creating the model, creating the data for your project. Then you can have a second person creating the drawing that's going to display this model for your clients. And that's the whole point to referencing files. Now, let's say a residential design needs a survey drawing to establish the legally defined property boundaries. You can have a surveyor create that drawing and then you xref it in. You also need an architect to create drawings for you for your home or the building, whatever that might be. Now, that other person can make those drawings. And when you get that, you can xref it in. And then maybe we need a sewer main, a water main, things like that from the civil designer. So you can go and xref that into your file. So now you have three sources of data, a surveyor, an architect, and a civil engineer, and you bring all of that data from three different parties together and you put it in one file. Now that's something you can do, and you can do it very easily. Now it's good CAD practice to have each of these designs created and managed in their own CAD file. And then when it's time to create your drawing, you simply reference these drawings and annotate them as needed. Now, you can also reference things, not just CAD files, DWG AutoCAD files, but you can also reference files like a PDF, a DWF, a JPEG, or TIFF file. These files could contain aerial views of the property or logos, title block information for your cover sheet, things like that. So here in this reference file, we see that this reference file is located in model space. When you xref something in, that's typically where you're going to put it, into model space. It's drawn at a 1:1 scale, and now you can just act like you have this line work inside this file, even though you don't. You can reference files to paper space, but that's typically only used for images, like a title block or a PDF of a schematic or something like that. Remember, paper space is where you annotate your drawing, and model space is where your design information goes, or your line work. So to get to the xref manager, you just type in XR on the command line, or you can type in the full word of xref. Press enter. Now your xref manager is just this guy right here. It's just another palette. So you can change the window size of it. You can move it around, collapse it, just like you would any other palette. You can even dock it left, right, etc. But looking at the xref manager, we see this file listed right here. This is the main file. This is the one we're in. See, we're in the reference file. And these are two other files that are referenced into it. This is the movie house file. And this gives you a bit of information about it. This tells you where it's saved at, the date it was saved, what type of xref it is, and whether it's loaded or not. In this one here, we see data extraction, moviehouse.dxe. Now that's another file that's been referenced, but it's been referenced into movie house. And you can see there's an exclamation point here. There's something that's wrong with it. The status is unresolved. They can't find the file. So either the file has been moved, deleted, renamed, or something. So that's something you want to keep an eye on. So let's show you how to xref something. Just open up the xref manager and come up to this top icon here. Click on this little arrow and you can see all the different sorts of data files that you can reference. DWG, image, DWF, and so on and so forth, even point clouds. Well, we're going to attach a DWG. So we click on that option and we browse to the file that we want to look at. And we're going to xref the road file. Now, this is a drawing that has just a road. It's a simple road. It's an intersection. And we're going to put it into our drawing here. Let's pretend that we got this from a civil designer. So select the file, click open. and you'll get this window open right here. This is the name of the file. Again, you can browse. If this is the wrong file, click here to browse, and you can browse to wherever it needs to be. So now you have different settings right here. You can change the scale of the drawing. You can change the insertion point, though typically you're going to insert at 0, 0, 0. Okay, that's sort of a universal CAD practice that everyone uses. Now, you're going to need to know the path type, and we'll talk about those later on. Right now, I'm just going to use relative path. If you want to rotate it, and this tells you right here the unit types for that file. It's in feet, and since our drawing here is an architectural drawing, its base unit is the inch, but this one is the feet, which is typical for a civil design file in the United States. They use feet for their units. So since we have these already set, AutoCAD is automatically scaling it properly for us. And we have our reference type. And again, we're going to talk about those later on. So once this is all set, just click OK. And the file is now loaded and referenced into your drawing. You can see it right here. So if I close this, zoom out a little bit, you'll see here's the road. So now I have two different sources of data from two different people at two different types of units, and it's all coming in together to work on my drawing. Now, if I go to my plan view here, I can start working, and I can just set up my drawing however I need and however I want. I might fill out my title block information, and I'm ready to go. So that's how an xref works, and it's something you're going to use all the time, especially if you work with other people, or if you work on a large project that means a lot of data to be shown. You're going to use xrefs, and you'll use them often.